This video is mainly to introduce an improvement model of assignment problem. In the previous model, I built a basic assignment model. There are 3 workers and 3 jobs in the company. Each worker can do each job, but the cost of doing different jobs for each worker is different. The objective of the company is to achieve the minimum cost. To determine which worker to do which job, in cplex, I use a Boolean type variable, assign jobs, workers. In the constraint, we want each job just is occupied by exactly one worker, and each worker just fills exactly one job. If we want to print out the result, we can first build a tuple named result, which consists of job ID and worker ID, and then save the result in the tuple. And finally, we use the write-in syntax to print out the result. Next, let's change the condition and add more constraints in this model. Now each type of job has 3 candidates. Each worker can just do exactly one job, so the problem is assign 9 workers to 3 jobs. Plus, we know the time that each worker spent on doing that job in order to achieve a same return of value. In this scenario, we want to know which worker can achieve the highest efficiency, so the objective comes to minimize the unit value cost. In cplex, the objective is to minimize sum of return value divided the product of the time and cost. Another scenario is we know the satisfaction rate of each worker doing a job. If the satisfaction rate is higher than 1, we will allocate the job to that worker. Otherwise, we will not allocate the job to that worker. So here, it looks like we have 2 objectives that we want to reach: the highest efficiency and the highest satisfaction rate of each worker. cplex can just deal with single objective problem, so we'll have to transform this multiple objective into single objective. There are 2 ways to solve this problem. One is to combine the 2 objectives into one single objective. Another way is to transform the objective into constraint. For this scenario, I use the second method. I use the constraint to filter the worker who has a satisfaction rate over 100%. Okay. There is a third scenario. Not every Not every worker is available for the time that a job requests. So if a worker is available, the value equals to 1. If it's not available, the value is 0. So here, we want to put a new constraint that worker who does the job is available during the requested time. So that's all the model about the assignment problem. Here, here there's another scenario that a company wants to assign workers to shifts with a certain goal and several constraints. Here is the case. A company has two categories of jobs, and each category job consists 8 workers. We need to assign those workers to different shifts. There is 7 days a week and 4 shifts per day. The objective is to minimize the number of overtime shifts and unwilling shifts. Here's the model. The decision variable is if a worker in a category is assigned to a shift in a day. We define worker category employee day shift and another decision variable overtime category employee is the number of overtime shift and unwilling category employee is the number of unwilling shifts. In the constraint, first we just want each worker work maximum 1 shift per day. Second, the number of workers in each shift must reach the required number. Third, we don't want worker work in the first shift of a day after he worked the first shift a day before. Fourth, if a worker works more than 5 days per week, the overtime of each worker in a category equals the total shift minus 5. Fifth, the number of unwilling work shift equals to the number of shifts on the weekend. This model still exists some problem, and when I learned how to use cplex, I met a lot of problems. I use all the methods to solve them. Sometimes we might fail or problem is hard to solve just to give up. However, the progress every time we make is just to overcome every small problem. So that's all the presentation. Thank you.